In this video, we're breaking down a multi-day severe weather outbreak that will affect millions of people from Austin, Texas to Richmond, Virginia. The Storm Prediction Center has already issued a moderate risk for severe weather for the Dixie Alley region on day 2, which means we could be looking at a potentially significant and destructive tornado outbreak. Welcome back, y'all. Ryan Hall here with the weather forecast. We're going to be breaking down this severe weather threat day by day. I have timestamps down in the description for everything if you want to navigate around the video that way. Also, I will be going live tomorrow to cover this severe weather outbreak starting around 3 p.m. once again, and it looks like it's going to be another long stream, 8, 9, 10 hours, maybe even more than that. So make sure you set a reminder for that. I have a link to the event down in the description. Also, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you get that alert when I do go live. Now, without further ado, let's start talking about the weather. All right, here's a big old look at the United States of America. It's the calm before the storm right now. Not a lot going on. We actually have a little bit of snow showers up here in Pennsylvania and upstate New York. Look at here, some moderate to heavy snow moving through Williamsport towards the Scranton region. In fact, it'll probably be snowing in Scranton by the time this video goes up. This is all light snow. We're not expecting much from it. It's going to get out of here pretty quick. And then if we scroll down here to the south, we've got some moderate to heavy rain that's affecting the southeast. As you can see here, we've got some flash flood warnings for northern Alabama and a flash flood warning down there in southern Mississippi near Meridian. Unfortunately, this is just setting the stage for what's to come. We can take a closer look at that on the weather models. All right, we're going to start down here in the south central United States on the high resolution rapid refresh model. Storm Prediction Center does have a slight risk of severe weather here with a 5% chance of tornadoes. So let's break this down. If you want to keep up with the time, it's up here above my head, constantly displayed up here, guys. This is sort of what the radar could look like as we go later on into today. And watch this area of precipitation over here, okay? We've got a four corners upper level low pressure system that's going to turn into a pretty potent surface low pressure system as it moves across into Texas and Oklahoma. And watch here, right around 10 o'clock tonight, that's when we're going to see our first storms popping up in the northern panhandle of Texas and in western Oklahoma. And we may also see some convection down here in southeastern Texas too, as this low pressure system is really going to kick up some moisture from the Gulf of Mexico here, and we're going to have a kink in the jet stream that's going to allow for some lift. So we could see some strong storms here, overnight storms here in Oklahoma and Texas. Let's keep pushing this forward, and those storms do eventually make it into Kansas. 1 a.m. or midnight, we're going to have a big old convective system of storms moving north into Kansas here. And once again, these could be strong or severe. And watch this. This is pretty interesting. As I push this into motion, on the backside of this low pressure system, where it's bringing down so much cold air behind it, we actually are going to be talking about snow and heavy snow in the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas. Once again, it's March 16th, March 17th tomorrow, and we're talking about snow on the backside of this storm that's going to bring severe weather and tornadoes on the front side. So here we go. We got a lot going on now at 4 a.m. in the morning tomorrow. We've got a big old area of heavy thunderstorms and rain moving into southern parts of Kansas and northern parts of Oklahoma. We have a convective linear system of storms forming down here in central Texas, and then we have a big cluster of storms forming over here in Mississippi. Now you can kind of see what's going on here. We've got a low pressure system, an occlusion front, a cold front, a little bit of a warm front, and on the triple point up here, we are going to have some strong storms. But along the cold front and the dry line here, a secondary short wave is going to try to pop up here and have a more robust warm front out in front of it here, and that's why we're getting those storms here in Mississippi and Alabama, and that's why we're going to be talking about an extremely higher risk for severe weather over there tomorrow, as this warm sector is really going to move in and juice up the atmosphere. But let's push this forward a little bit more, and then as we get into 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, we could be talking about some strong storms forming up here in central Arkansas. We're going to have a linear convective system of strong to severe thunderstorms moving through the Kansas City area, moving towards the Joplin area. Now this right here doesn't have a huge tornado threat with it, but it is there, okay? The atmosphere in this storm system, anywhere that's in the warm sector, either one of them is going to be primed for rotation. Definitely watch out for the tornado threat up here in Missouri tomorrow morning into the midday portion of tomorrow. And then we have a little bit more of a severe weather threat down here in Arkansas, southeastern Oklahoma, northwestern Louisiana, and eastern Texas as we move into the heating of the day on Wednesday. Watch this. Now we're getting into our day 2 categorical outlook, and this is what it looks like, guys. A moderate risk for severe weather on day 2 is rare. All right, most of the time, if the Storm Prediction Center is going to issue a moderate risk for severe weather, they're going to do that on the day of. So the fact that we're getting a moderate risk on day 2 means that the Storm Prediction Center is very confident that we're going to have some widespread damaging severe weather. And in this case, it's looking like significant tornadoes are going to be the headline. However, we do still have that significant chance for damaging hail and damaging straight line winds as well. Let's move over to the east as we watch this continue to progress. And we've got our warm front out in front of it. And everywhere underneath that warm front is what we call the warm sector. And underneath this warm sector, the more time we have without convective rain showers, without cloud cover, with just full sunshine, the more unstable the atmosphere is going to come down here. And it does look like to me like there's going to be an area that does try to clear out briefly before the main event happens. So let's put this further into motion. Here we go, 3 p.m. tomorrow. It's starting to really light up. We've got a line of strong to severe thunderstorms forming from Houston, Texas, all the way up to Little Rock, Arkansas. And then what's really concerning is out in front of it, these discrete cells, these thunderstorms that are popping up in Mississippi and Alabama could be the ones that are rotating, okay? These could be the ones that are dangerous in nature and have a ton of shear in the atmosphere to work with to really drop significant long track tornadoes. And it's important to talk about the fact that the warm sector here isn't the only thing that we're worried about. There's also a very good potential that these storms over here with the dry line that's moving in will have tornadoes with them too. But these will not be discrete supercells. These will be embedded supercells in a multi-quasi-linear convective system with rain-wrapped dangerous tornadoes in there. So that's also a very dangerous situation if you live in Arkansas, Louisiana, southeastern Missouri, western Kentucky, western Tennessee, and then this will also eventually affect Mississippi and Alabama as well. Get ready for that. You guys are going to have 2 rounds of significant severe weather here, as these supercells will be the most intense and dangerous round, and then this over here is just going to bring a whole nother overnight threat, and we'll talk more about that right here in a second. Check this out. We're going to go a little bit further into the future, and here we are at 5 p.m. on Wednesday, March 17th, and this doesn't look good, guys. This is concerning to say the least. Once again, I want to emphasize, if you can see your county on this map right now, you need to be getting ready for the fact that significant severe weather is going to affect your area tomorrow. You need to have a good radar app, Radar Scope or Radar Omega, and it's super helpful to have a NOAA weather radio from Midland, okay? It's probably too late for you to get one shipped to you right now, but there's always going to be another severe weather event. So if you want one of those, I have a link in the description right at the top with the best weather radio that exists out there. It's the one that I own, and it's the one that I recommend to everybody. So here we are at 5 p.m. Once again, every single one of these little storms that you see here represents a possible rotating supercell. They will be moving through southern Mississippi into central and northern Alabama, and then eventually into northwestern Georgia here. And then we have this big, nasty line of severe thunderstorms on the backside, which these are also going to be we have to watch this too. A lot of people are completely focused on this because they're looking for those discrete supercells with large damaging tornadoes. Me personally, I think that this is also going to be just as important, as these kinds of storms can kind of turn into feeder bands. It looks like feeder bands on a hurricane, where you just have a line after line of strong storms with tornadoes embedded inside. So let's put this into motion just a little bit more. And as you can see, those supercell thunderstorms are still going over the Alabama area. They're making their way into northwest Georgia. Even central Georgia here could have some problems as we go towards 7 p.m. with some strong damaging thunderstorms that could have the tendency for cyclonic rotation. And then here comes our big line of storms, and right out in front of it here, we need to watch on the warm sector for more of these supercell thunderstorms to pop up. This could be an instance where we have like a railroad track, where multiple supercell thunderstorms just kind of train over the same areas over and over again, and that just increases the odds of some of these areas seeing possibly significant tornadoes going over them. So here we are, 8 and 9 o'clock, and look at this, guys. This is going to be a dangerous situation as this big line of storms with embedded supercells starts working through. It's going to be dark, right? It's going to be dark. We've made some jokes about naders in the dark before, but this is no joke. There's probably going to be multiple embedded supercells in this line, and we will be talking about tornadoes in the dark here. Rain-wrapped tornadoes in the dark in Dixie Alley, where there's a bunch of trees, you can't see anything, is one of the most dangerous things I can possibly think of. So if you're in Mississippi, Alabama, this region right here, around 9 or 10 o'clock tomorrow night is when you really need to be paying attention to the weather. I'm going to be live streaming, okay? Tune in to me. James Spann is going to be live, I'm sure, in this area. Tune in to him. Make sure you have alerts turned on your phone. You know how you can get an Amber Alert? You'll also get an alert for tornado warnings if you have that turned on your phone. So make sure you go into your settings and make sure you have that turned on, because this is going to be a very dangerous situation. The National Weather Service is going to be on top of it, though, and they'll see that rotation and hopefully give you enough warning so that you can get into your safe space. place, the most interior room of your house, preferably underground. But if you can't go underground, go to like the middle bathroom in your house or a middle closet where there's no exterior walls and no windows. Now let's back it up here a little bit more, and let's look at some of the severe weather parameters and explain why this is happening. One of the main things here is going to be the moisture that's available in the atmosphere. Look at the dew points. As we go later on into the day tomorrow, we're going to reach near 70 degrees with our dew points in Mississippi and Alabama there. And then when those supercell thunderstorms start popping up, obviously that's going to deplete some of the moisture. But look at this. There's ample dew points down here, and then we have a dry line coming in from the west. That's that big line of storms that's going to come through. And what this is doing, other than sparking up severe thunderstorms over here, it's compiling all this moisture. The further east this tracks and the longer this area goes untouched without a big area of rain going over it, the higher these dew points will get, and the more instability we're going to have, the more convective available energy we're going to have as this moves through. Speaking of convective available energy, watch how it just blows up here. Look at this. We're near 3,500 joules per kilogram of convective energy down here in southern Mississippi and southwestern Alabama. This is the atmosphere. That's the environment that these supercell thunderstorms will be forming in. And that's high. For this time of year, 3,500 joules per kilogram is absolutely going to be off the charts. And then as you can see, that cape does eventually start to diminish as we go into the overnight hours. But there's so much there in the beginning that these storms are going to eat it all up and carry that energy with them. That's why we think they're going to be a long track. Here's another really scary image to look at. This is the significant tornado parameter, okay? This is the model putting together all of the different attributes of the atmosphere that it takes to produce a tornado and giving us a rating from 0 to 10 on how likely it is for a significant tornado to form in that area. And look at this. We're at 10 in central Alabama. We're at 10 in northeastern Mississippi and southern Tennessee. We're at 10 down here in southern Mississippi. Anywhere that's shaded in any color here needs to be watching out for the fact that we could be seeing significant tornadoes in that area. And then as we head into 11 p.m. and midnight, here we are at midnight, and this line of strong and severe thunderstorms is just now crossing over the border between Mississippi and Alabama. And look at this. You can even see how these storms are going to be embedded supercells with a tendency for cyclonic rotation on the HRRR model. When you can see the shear and the possible hook echo returns on the HRRR model, this far out, you know you're looking at something very concerning here. So once again, rain-wrapped nighttime tornadoes possible with this line of storms as it moves through, and then that does eventually make it into the Tuscaloosa area, the Birmingham area, the Huntsville area, the Coleman area, and then that's going to go all the way into Georgia here. Look at that. And then we could be talking about some significant storms down here in southeastern Tennessee, eastern Tennessee. This is going to be a widespread event, guys. Once again, if you can see your county on this map right now, be prepared. Now we're getting into that day 3 area. Okay, the Storm Prediction Center has already issued an enhanced risk for severe weather on day 3 for areas in the southeast and a big slight risk area for much of the eastern part of the United States. So let's break this down. First of all, look at this. We're talking about heavy snow at 5 a.m. on Thursday all through Missouri. All through Missouri. They've got a risk for tornadoes and severe weather today. And then on Thursday, we're talking about heavy backside snow on the back of this tornado outbreak producer. So here we are on 5 a.m. on Thursday. Let's keep pushing this forward. And thankfully, in the early morning hours here, these storms are going to be working over a pretty stable environment. Once they reach Atlanta and the northwestern part of South Carolina, this whole area right here, I do think that the atmosphere will be stable enough to get rid of the great tornado threat that we have, but they will eventually spark back up into this area right here. Here we are at 2 p.m. on Thursday. Anywhere in front of this line is going to have a hard time with another potential severe weather outbreak. And then we have another smaller area back in here in the cold core portion of this setup that could be talking about some severe thunderstorms up here. So the most impressive risk is going to happen in front of this dry line. As you can see, we've got a line of storms here. There will be more that form up later in the day, and then those will move across Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina, and eventually be out of the area by around 2 a.m. on Friday. And if we zoom out, yes, we are still talking about the possibility for snow on the top side of this in North Jersey, New York, and Connecticut and Rhode Island. Maybe even getting some heavy snow out there on Cape Cod and Long Island there. So, and then we could We could be talking about a brief shot of snow in North Carolina right after a severe weather outbreak as this low pressure system wraps up and just to bring some cold air with it behind it. All right, that's all the weather talk I have for you today. I know that was a lot. I hope that I conveyed the message well, but remember, I'm going to have another update video tomorrow morning really early, just specifically talking about the Dixie Alley outbreak. The whole video will be spent on that. And then once again, I'm going to be going live around 2 or 3 p.m. and I'm not going to stop until the threat is over. And that already looks like it could be 3 a.m., maybe even longer than that. So get ready to join that live stream. Even if you're not from that area, let's all get in there and let's share it and let's get the word out, because last time we had a really productive time of getting the word out to people who didn't even know that there was a severe weather threat going on. I believe we had the opportunity to reach an audience or a subset of people that normally wouldn't keep up with the weather, and that's what's cool about this channel. So let's all join in for the live stream tomorrow, and let's hope for the best. Let's hope that nothing terrible happens, but let's prepare for the worst, okay? In the meantime, follow me on Twitter at Ryan Hall, y'all. I'm going to have tons of updates over there, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.